This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today is Monday, June 1st, and as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So we talked about this a little bit last week. We're coming into summer trading. Things are definitely going to get a little bit slower. We're going to see a lot less movement coming into the afternoons, and what that means is we need to be a lot pickier than we usually are, especially in the morning time, just because you can't really count on the afternoon as much to be able to, basically make up anything. So that first trade is going to be so important during summer trading. Just kind of set the tone for exactly what's going to happen throughout the rest of your day. So we got a few things that are going on. First thing is CETX. So we can see that right now we're sitting in this little flag right here. We have some great buying, and it's not going to let me go all the way back to show, but we do have some really nice prints at 250. It was a decent burst at the 250 on the ask. So right now what it looks like is this flag is about to fail based off the selling that we see coming back into there. But really what we're going to be looking for is to hold that support level. We have some nice support sitting there at 2. Based off the selling, it looks like we might be able to go a little bit further past that. But a trigger back towards that upside, there is the buying there. And you can see the highest amount of volume that came in is basically on that burst coming back from that 2. So we're going to be looking about right there for that trigger as a support level. And then overall, based off of the amount of buying that we saw at 250, we're really only looking about 25 cents. We would need to see a lot more for us to be able to see anything over that 275, because it's going to be a strong resistance coming up to there. Excuse me. So at the bottom of this consolidation, this is really what we want to pay attention to, what the reactions are. And as you can see, as we're coming back down, we are seeing some pretty decent buying that's coming in there. And again, overall, it does have the buying for 275. We just really need to get that volume to come in. And when I say volume, obviously volume's looking pretty good right now, but we need that trading volume. Time and sales is definitely a little bit slow as we're coming into here, but to be expected as we get closer to the open. That's the only thing, is that as we get closer to the open, we might see this thing pop before 9:30. But then once we get into 9:30, we'll kind of take it from there. But we need to see some more, like I said, more prints above there to really get any type of range within it. Next thing looking at is PFE. So I'm not usually a big fan of stocks like this. I mean, it just doesn't have a huge big range. It's $1.19, on average, doesn't really do too much, but we can see it took a big hit coming down close to 38.19. And, we're sitting, based off of how much it moves, it's a really big move towards that downside. The only thing is that I haven't really seen any prints that are great, but I really like this. And the reason that we're talking, basically talking about is I really like these prints that came in at that 36.01. I just really haven't seen that much selling coming towards that downside. 35.75, pretty decent burst there. But overall, I just don't see enough yet to be able to break this print line at that 35.60, even though, we do have some pretty decent selling. So going to need to see a little bit of a better show of hand, but we should expect a lot bigger range than we typically do within it. Next thing, DGLY. So overall, I know most of us were just looking at it, but there is a huge amount of refreshing that came in at that 2 level. As that big order was being hit, we saw them just continue to add, and the prints just there aren't doing it justice. But you can see right here a lot of buying coming, and it jumped up over the weekend. But then you can see as it was coming back down, there wasn't anything that crazy. Especially for such a cheap stock with this amount of volume. It's already trading 5.7 million shares. Anything that crazy to really show us that we have to continue. Yeah, now I know we do have that gap that's below there, but based off of the refreshing that we saw at that 2 level, wouldn't be surprised to see it kind of fall back down towards those lows first before we would get any type of move up. But when, stock that's, this cheap, that went from 320 all the way down to 2, to get back up to a 250 level is not going to be a hard thing whatsoever. And with the amount of buying that we're seeing there, it's already showing that we have that ability. And then AESE. So I'm not ecstatic about this one just because I haven't really seen much that's coming in at this 4, and unfortunately seeing a lot of reaction selling there. So overall, it's on our side list because of that. We just need to see more that's coming in. The volume was actually pretty decent, especially for how early it was for our pop-up, above that 4 level. And there was some okay buying, but we didn't really get too many prints that came in at 450, which I would have liked to see a lot more of. And as of this second, as you can see, it's just, as we're coming lower, I'm just not seeing as much buying as I would like to. And especially with this selling right here, this is a pretty ballsy position compared to what our print personality is out there. So overall, it's got potential, but it's definitely towards the bottom of my list based off of everything else that we have out there this morning. And other than that, not really seeing too much else going on. Now, anything else out there that I missed? AYTU had a pop silence. Let's see. Okay, so my problem here is that for the first trade of the day, so a morning list is always going to be something that has the most potential, obviously, for what we're looking for. Now there is definitely some good buying, but you have to understand because of how quantity that it's trading, you're going to get a lot of that mix. So it looks like a lot of buying, then a lot of selling, and a lot of buying because it is awfully quantity. It definitely could go on the side list, but I personally would not be looking for this as my first trade just because there's things with better range out there. There's just things that are going to be easier to read. So overall, I mean, it fits all the criteria, but should be on the bottom. That's like a last case scenario to start looking at. Guild, really nice positions under 80 at 830. Let's take a look. Okay, yeah, 79.80. That's definitely, and you got to remember too, something about this is if you remember at that 85 level, there's some huge buying that's still in this thing, which basically told us that it had the ability to be able to get up to basically 100. So overall, definitely. I mean, but this is one of those stocks that's kind of an everyday stock. Almost every single day, you're going to be able to get some good volume, and you're going to be able to find trades that come into this. But definitely, I'll throw that one on the list because I do like that position. The only thing is, remember, because it happened at 8:30, a lot of times what's going to happen is because it was so early, it's going to take a little bit longer for it to come to fruition. So obviously we're already getting that pullback, but I'd probably expect to see even more of a pullback, almost towards this, kind of 74 level. 75 is obviously going to play a lot of games and it's going to give us that information, but based off of this, it probably is going to take a little bit longer. So just keep that in mind based off of the statistics of what we usually see happen. But definitely, I like it. All right, anything else? 85 was Guild or mRNA? It was Guild. mRNA, if you look. Yeah, probably actually Guild, mRNA probably had 85, prints at 85 as well. Just based off what it looks like, but it definitely Guild. I have it written down from there, and I've just been kind of watching it over the course of the past few weeks. All right, so remember, this is the beginning of summer trading. So let's make sure that you're really focused. And it's like I said, before, it's just so much more important to focus on that first trade of the day because that's going to set the tone. And remember, we want to get as much done during the morning time as we can because we can't really count on those afternoons to really have much going on. All right, guys, so I will talk to everybody in the chat and happy trading.